inspiration. So enjoy. You always have something very special.
You heard the song, and some of you missed last week's session, but the words, the first thing that I dealt with, not last week, but last month, if God is omnipresent, then God is everywhere. There is no place God absent in water, earth, or air. If God is omnipresent, He's in every cell of mine. My body is a temple that houses the divine. It was so cool when I read the inspirational thing in your program today, because it really keys in on our oneness with God. If God is omnipresent, and that means He is within us, then all of God's aspects are within us. And today I want to talk about the power of God. If God is omnipotent, then power is God's alone. There can be no opposition. Just let the truth be known. We each display God's power in everything we do. We're tools of God's creation. We're God in action too. That's us. That's you. That's me. The power of God flows through us, and there can be nothing in opposition to the power of God. Now, the wonderful thing about doing these talks is I am forced to look at them. I am forced to reevaluate my thoughts. I'm forced to open up my thinking. And so the first thing I want to talk about was the revelation that came to me as I was preparing for this talk. My lovely wife and I have had a dispute or a different understanding, because she has had a personal first-hand experience with dark entity. And so she has an understanding that there's this devil out here, okay? And I'm coming from the perspective of, no, there isn't. God is omnipotent. There can be no power in opposition of God. Well, as I've been working my way through the thought process for this sermon, it occurs to me, if we have God's power within us, we can surely all create a devil.
You bet.
And we have over centuries of putting consciousness into something you can call the devil, or something you call Lucifer, or something you call Satan, or something that appears to be a dark power. Appears to be a dark power. And of course I realize now that I am right, but I also realize that Lori is right too. Because we have created, with our God creation power, the ability to have this seemingly dark energy. But let me tell you the flip side of that. And at one point in time I talked to you about, I gave a talk on fear. And I'm just going to touch on this briefly because I've talked on it once before. Every negative thing that we experience in life comes from fear. Whether it is hate, is grounded in fear. Anger is grounded in fear. Jealousy is grounded in fear. Greed is grounded in fear that there's not enough. Everything that we experience that seems negative in our life is grounded in fear. And so we take all this fear together and go, poof, there's the devil. The devil is doing God's work, folks. Because the way metaphysics works is, if you are afraid of something, you inevitably draw it to you.
Absolutely.
And why is that? That is because you have to confront your fear. And once you confront your fears, they go away. You cannot truly understand your own divinity that is within you until you truly know you have nothing to fear. So when I talk about every one of us has God creation powers within us, that includes the God creation power to bring that dark side of us to us that we desperately need so we can confront our fears and then come out the other side and realize, wait a minute, there is nothing to fear. And why is there nothing to fear? Because each and every one of you are God within. Every single cell of your body, God within. So, that's the dark side of it. Now let's look at the positive side of the power of God is within you. There's absolutely nothing that you can't do if you believe you can do it, if you get in touch with that God self within and bring that forth. Now, in order to do that, you have to change some ways of thinking. How many of you let yourself off the hook? And it's good to let yourself off the hook. You should never be beating yourself over anything. But how many let yourself off the hook by saying, well, I'm only human. He's only human. Okay? If that's part of your thought process, to the extent that that's part of your thought process, you are blocking the absolute power of God that is within you to create. If I'm only human, well, that means I can't walk on water. It means I can't raise the dead. It means I can't do all of these things that the Master Jesus did. But He told us, all of these things I have done, you can do and more. And He wasn't jiving us, folks. We can all do that. The difference is, He truly understood His God connection. He truly understands, I and my Father are one. So are you. Just as much as He was, but it's not manifested because you haven't, and I'm not just saying you, because I'm in here too, I haven't cleared my thought processes enough to truly rest 100% in my God being. Put that aside. You don't have to be 100% connected with your God beingness to create wonderful, wonderful things in your life. I mean, if you look at what mankind has created on this world, I mean, you can look at the dark side and say, well, look at all the war and look at all that terrible stuff. Well, there's wonderful stuff in this world. There's lots of love. There's a congregation like this that can come together in love and in harmony and searching for a greater understanding. We have penicillin. We wiped out smallpox. We have airplanes that can fly us across the sky in no time flat. We travel huge distances. We feed millions and literally billions of people on this earth. Look at the wonder of things that we have done as humanity. And we need to stay focused on the wondrous things that we have done on humanity. And this has to do with hope. When you are focusing on the wondrous things that humanity has done and on the wondrous things that you have done in the creation of your life and your life circumstances, then it's easy to hope. However, if you focus in the other direction, then you lose hope. And that's what Anna was talking about today, and we need to focus on that wonderful, wonderful God power within us. Each and every one of you has the power to do amazing things. Look through your thought processes and see what it is that's blocking you. See what belief systems like, well, I'm only human, are keeping you out of the way of letting that wonderful power